time is precisely 6:15. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. Here's the news edited by Dulmin Samarasinghe and read by Rumesh Piris. First, the headlines. The President reiterates that Sri Lanka is ready to respond positively to the observations of the international community. President Rajapaksa discloses plans to make Sri Lanka an international investment hub. Sri Lanka pay $500 million sovereign bond that matured today. India offers a new line of credit of $500 million to Sri Lanka to purchase petroleum products. An additional day requested to debate President's policy statement. The Sri Lanka Tourism Development Authority warns tourist establishments who practice a foreigners-only policy. It has been revealed that 15,000 in police knew foreign intelligence information on Easter Sunday attacks 2019. In news overseas, China defends common prosperity crackdowns. In sports, it's cricket. England investigates after police breakup post-Ashes party. And now the local news in detail. President Gotabaya Rajapaksa, delivering the government's policy statement in the House this morning, said that no changes have been made to the green agriculture policy implemented by his administration. The President arrived at the Parliament this morning for the ceremonial opening of the second session of the 9th Parliament. In his speech, the President said government's plans and intentions for implementing the green agriculture policy were not communicated properly and several practical issues in introducing it were politicized. The President said, adding that this resulted in a misunderstanding about the program. He said the government hopes to rectify the mistakes it had made when implementing the green agriculture policy and to take it forward in a more efficient manner. The President said the government has spent large sums of money to protect the lives of the people from the virus infection. He said the government has also taken measures to provide assistance to daily wage earners who lost their livelihood due to the outbreak of the pandemic. The President pointed out, despite all economic difficulties, the government went on to prioritize the health and well-being of the citizens. The President called on the members of Parliament to work together as public representatives to fulfill their national responsibility to defeat the pandemic and to protect the people by setting aside the differences in their political views. President Rajapaksa said the government would not under any circumstances allow any human rights violations to take place in the country and urged politicians to refrain from provoking people for petty political gains. The President reiterated that Sri Lanka is ready to respond positively to the observations of the international community. He urged all lawmakers representing the people of the northern and eastern parts of the island to set aside the differences in their political views and to support the government in its efforts to uplift the livelihoods of the people in those areas. The President said rule of law and its transparency is indispensable to strengthen democracy. The President said that he has not made any political appointments to the judiciary or the Attorney General's department ever since he was elected the head of state. President Gotabaya Rajapaksa also disclosed plans to make Sri Lanka an internationally recognized investment hub within the next 3 years and to prioritize importation of electric vehicles. Sri Lanka has paid $500 million sovereign bond that matured today. The central bank governor, Ajit Nivard Cabral, has mentioned this in a Twitter message issued today. The Indian High Commission in Colombo said India has offered a new line of credit of $500 million to Sri Lanka to purchase petroleum products. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar extended this critical support in his letter addressed to the Foreign Minister Professor G.L. Piris. Recently, India extended foreign exchange support of over $900 million to Sri Lanka. These measures are in line with India's commitment to stand with Sri Lanka, contribute to Sri Lanka's economic growth, and impart greater momentum to bilateral economic and commercial partnership. The first government parliamentary group meeting this year took place today under the patronage of Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa at the Parliament complex. The general debate on the policy statement of President Gotabaya Rajapaksa in Parliament today was scheduled to be held tomorrow and day after. However, Minister Johnston Fernando requested the Prime Minister to allocate Friday as well for the debate since a majority of government party members wants to express their views. The Prime Minister has given necessary instructions in this regard. The Western Province Senior DIG, Deshabandhu Tenakun, says nearly 15,000 in the police knew about information received from the Foreign Intelligence Service about Easter Sunday attacks in 2019. He mentioned this during the hearing of the court case related to the attack. The case has been filed against former Defence Secretary Hemasiri Fernando and former IGP Pujit Jayasundara. This news broadcast comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. The Electricity Board says all measures are being taken to prevent disconnection to electricity due to the use of diesel. The discussion with Indian Oil Company to get fuel has failed. The Electricity Board said Petroleum Corporation has begun supplying 900 metric tons of fuel to generate electricity. The Pakistani Prime Minister Imran Khan today appreciated the business community of Sialkot and Rajco Industries for extending assistance to the widow of Sri Lankan national Priyantha Kumara, who was killed by a violent mob in Sialkot last year. Taking to Twitter, Prime Minister Khan said the business community of Sialkot transferred $100,000 to the account of the widow. Therefore, Priyantha Kumara's widow will receive a monthly salary of $2,000 for the next 10 years. A liquid oxygen tank set up at the Jaffna Teaching Hospital has been commissioned. The Deputy Director of the Teaching Hospital, S. Siribhavar Raja, inaugurated it today. It is the first liquid oxygen tank to be set up in the Northern Province. The Ministry of Health has spent 24 million rupees to install the tank. It has a liquid oxygen capacity of 10,000 litres. A project to build new houses for the resettled people has commenced at Mana, Museli Division, Secretariat area. Houses worth 1.5 million rupees each will be constructed for 13 selected families. The construction work was launched by MP Khatha Marston on Sunday. Sacks of essential goods, including dry rations, has been provided to 200 families affected by floods in Mana district due to inclement weather. Each of these sacks is worth 11,000 rupees. MP Khatha Marston handed over the goods on Sunday. The people of Konarpanne, Pudukudireppu, Tottaveli, Carousel, Tharapuram, under the Mana Divisional Secretariat have benefited. Over 89,000 people have visited the Colombo Port City Marina Promenade during the past 8 days. The 500-meter public walking path was declared open at an event marking the 65th diplomatic anniversary between China and Sri Lanka on January 9th. Public was allowed to visit the Port City Marina Promenade from January 10th onwards between 9 a.m. and 6 p.m. And that concludes the local news bulletin.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
The Health Ministry said today 133 patients have recovered from COVID-19 infection within the last 24 hours. This brings the total number of COVID-19 recoveries in the country to 568,506. Meanwhile, 13,311 virus-infected patients are being treated at present. Sri Lanka has recorded 597,035 cases of COVID-19 so far. 15,218 of them have died due to the infection. And that was the main news story.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
Sri Lanka Tourism Development Authority today said stern action will be taken against tourist establishments who practice a foreigners-only policy. The SLTDA said they had received complaints regarding discriminatory practices followed by some tourist establishments against Sri Lankan citizens. The authority said it would suspend or cancel the license of such establishments, including informing travellers and notifying travel agencies to abstain from taking bookings if any places were found to be discriminatory. And that came to you in Watchlight.
Coming up, World News.
Moving on to a bulletin of world news. First, the headlines. China defends common prosperity crackdowns. Virus cases in home isolation top 10,000 in Tokyo. Scientists warn Tonga eruption may damage environment for years. And now the world news in detail. The Chinese President Xi Jinping has made a rare defense on the world stage of his common prosperity policy, which has seen major crackdowns on businesses. His comments came during the World Economic Forum's annual meeting of government and corporate leaders. China says the policy is aimed at narrowing the widening wealth gap, which could threaten the Communist Party's rule if left unaddressed. Technology, education and entertainment firms have been hit by the crackdowns. The number of people who have tested positive for COVID-19 and are isolated at home has soared to over 10,000 in Tokyo, reflecting the recent rapid spread of infection blamed on the Omicron variant. The Tokyo Metropolitan Government said there were 10,814 such people yesterday, exceeding the 10,000 mark for the first time since the virus's fifth wave of infection last summer. Scientists studying satellite images have warned the huge volcanic eruption in the Pacific island nation of Tonga could cause long-lasting damage to coral reefs, erode coastlines and disrupt fisheries. Hunga Tonga Hunga Hapai, an undersea volcano that erupted on Saturday, triggering tsunami warnings across the Pacific, has been releasing sulfur dioxide and nitrogen oxide, two gases that create acid rain when they interact with water and oxygen in the atmosphere. Back to the headlines of the world news. China defends common prosperity crackdowns. Virus cases in home isolation top 10,000 in Tokyo. Scientists warn Tonga eruption may damage environment for years. And that concludes the bulletin of world news.
Development News is brought to you by Let's take all out of the coconut tree and make the island thriving and prosperous. Call our hotline 1928. WhatsApp 070 400 1928.
The University of Moratuwa and Dhammika and Priscilla Pereira Foundation signed a memorandum of understanding recently to collaborate on the facilitation of open online ICT course development and delivery. The objective of this project is to provide opportunities in free learning and unlimited access to ICT knowledge for ICT enthusiasts in Sri Lanka. And that was Development News.
Development News was brought to you by the coconut tree is well grown in almost all the parts of the island. It is an exceptional source of extra income. The shell, the husk and almost all the parts of the coconut tree makes you money, providing you with an excellent extra source of income. It will also help to nourish the economy of the country. You will be guided with all necessary informations regarding the coconut cultivation, with the novel cultivation techniques and all other related and upgraded informations by the Coconut Research Institute, Lunavilla. Call our hotline 1928. WhatsApp 070 400 1928.
Moving on to sports. First, it's cricket. The second one-day international between Sri Lanka and Zimbabwe is underway at Pallekele International Stadium. Batting first, Zimbabwe scored 298 for the loss of 7 wickets of 49.4 overs short while ago. Meanwhile, the England and Wales Cricket Board will investigate after police were called to break up an early hours drinking session at the team hotel. England and Australia players and staff got together to mark the end of the Ashes at the tourist Hobart base. Video shows England captain Joe Root, bowler James Anderson, and Australian trio Nathan Lyon, Alex Carey, and Travis Head being told to disperse by police. In other sports news, it's tennis. Britain's Andy Murray marked his return to the Australian Open with a tense 5-set win over Georgian 21st seed Nicholas Basilashvili. Murray cruised to the first set in 23 minutes, but any hopes of a routine win disappeared as Basilashvili recovered. Momentum swung both ways before the wildcard won 6-1, 3-6, 6-4, 6-7, 5-7 and 6-4. In football news, Bayern Munich and Poland striker Robert Lewandowski was named 2021 Best FIFA Men's Player of the Year, while Manchester United's Cristiano Ronaldo landed the special award. Lewandowski claimed the prize for the second consecutive year after scoring 69 goals. And that's sports news.
Cash through NSP globally and win wonderful gifts locally. From October 1st, 2021 to December 31st, 2022. Remit a minimum of $100 or an equivalent amount in any foreign currency 3 times through NSB U Trust.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
The Colombo Stock Exchange is organizing a training program mainly for listed companies on climate disclosure in collaboration with UN Sustainable Stock Exchanges Initiative, Climate Disclosure Standard Board and International Finance Corporation. This will also focus on providing an overview of the Task Force on Climate-Related Financial Disclosures recommendations. Bringing this program to Sri Lanka was facilitated by the Centre for Smart Future, a Colombo-based think tank. Intended participants can reach CSC to receive the registration links by sending a request to chanuka@csc.lk. Subject line of such mails should be TFCD 2022. And that's Business News.
Business News, sponsored by
Cash through NSP globally and win wonderful gifts locally. Will you be the lucky winner of the NSP Golden Jubilee? 50 gold sovereigns for the top prize winner of the NSP Golden Jubilee. Scooters for the 10 second prize winners. iPhones for the 10 third prize winners. Mountain bikes for the 29 fourth prize winners. From October 1st, 2021 to December 31st, 2022. Remit a minimum of $100 or an equivalent amount in any foreign currency 3 times through NSB U Trust.
In economic news, the central bank said market value of the listed equity portfolio of the Employees Provident Fund as at end December 2021 recorded a value of 112 billion rupees against its cost of 84 billion rupees, thereby reflecting a substantial unrealized gain of 28 billion rupees in the portfolio. In addition, the EPF also realized 4.7 billion rupees during the year 2021 by way of scrip and cash dividends as well as capital gains. And that was economic news. The weather report is next.
The Weather Report.
Finally, on to the weather report. The Met Department says 5 showers will occur in the northern, eastern, north central and over provinces and in the Matale district. Showers or thunder showers will occur at several places in the Sambaragama province and in Galle, Matara, Kalutara and Nuwara districts. Fairly heavy showers above 50 millimeters may occur at some places in the Ratnapura, Kalutara, Galle and Matara districts. And that was the weather report. And to end this news broadcast, a recap of the main news headlines. The President reiterates that Sri Lanka is ready to respond positively to the observations of the international community. President Rajapaksa discloses plans to make Sri Lanka an international investment hub. Sri Lanka pays $500 million sovereign bond that matured today. India offers a new line of credit of $500 million to Sri Lanka to purchase petroleum products. An additional day requested to debate President's policy statement. The Sri Lanka Tourism Development Authority warns tourist establishments who participate a foreigners-only policy. It has been revealed that 15,000 in police knew foreign intelligence information on East Sunday attack 2019. In news overseas, China defends common prosperity crackdowns. And in sports, it's cricket. England investigates after police breakup post-Ashes party. And that concludes this news broadcast from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.